All right, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's a new year, so I was trying to figure out what I was going to do, if anything, today, and I landed on talking about a show that was on my best of TV of 2018, and today we're going to review Season 1 of Star's Counterpart, the show that stars J.K. Simmons, Olivia Williams, co-starring Stephen Rea, and I felt like I wanted to talk about it because I didn't really get to talk about it that much over that course of that big two-part TV review. And I feel like this show definitely deserves some more attention because not a lot of people, I don't know anybody that watches this show, but my audience is pretty small as far as, and I don't mean my YouTube audience, which is a fine number. I appreciate everybody that watches this, but my literal world audience, people I know, I don't have that many people. So the fact that nobody watches it around me is not that big a deal. But I just don't hear like a lot of chatter about it in general on the internet or on YouTube. And this show definitely deserves a lot of attention because even though it doesn't have White Walkers or zombies or I don't know, whatever, pick something. What it doesn't have in flash, it makes up for in substance. J.K. Simmons gives an incredible dual performance on this show. I finished, I'm starting to watch the second season right now. And I just wanted to kind of give everybody kind of an overall view of the first season. I'll get into spoilers later for those of you that have watched the show so I can talk about things I liked and a couple of things I didn't like. But this show is a major standout as far as character studies go. It's also really hard to keep track of. I tried watching this with somebody who had only seen part of the episodes, and I spent like a good chunk of time trying to explain all the details of this show to that person. It's kind of like Patriot in that way. Like a lot of spy shows, there's a lot of ins and outs and just little details about things that are going on. But anyway, let's just jump in. So it's 10 episodes. It's J.K. Simmons plays Harold Silk. He is this guy who works for this department that he doesn't really know what he does. He goes into a room with a briefcase. All these guys walk in with briefcases. They go into a room that's protected, and they read. There's a guy, a partition with some glass, and him and this other person read some codes and then leave. Like they just say some things to each other, they match them up on the pieces of paper that they have, and then they go about their day. What you don't know is that what the two partitions are is one world and another world. Like 30 some odd years ago, something happened where our world duplicated itself. Some event happened and it created an alternate world, kind of like Fringe. And so now, unbeknownst to almost anyone, the two worlds are diplomatically dealing with each other. Things will happen, people from their side can visit our side. Certain people from our side can visit their side for different, like, business reasons, political reasons. And you're not supposed to have any contact, really, with anybody from either side. And what ends up happening here is the Howard Silk from the other side comes here with information about a conspiracy that's going on, and the only one he'll talk to is this world's Howard Silk. And so that's pretty much how things get rolling. The Howard Silk from our world has been working this same, kind of business job for 30 years and has never gone anywhere, while the other Howard has left behind that job and now is basically like a super deep cover espionage spy guy who doesn't take guff. He's the more confident, seems to be the more confident, and one that has his life more, exciting wise. But as we dive deeper into these characters that have to begrudgingly work together, we start to see the differences and how boring Howard and exciting Howard's lives are comparatively, they're very different. But just because one person's life looks great doesn't mean that that's true. And just because one person's life looks boring doesn't mean that that's true. And it's also filled with, basically, it doesn't seem to be like anybody is who they say they are. Whether it's small details or big details, everybody is putting on a show in some way. And then you've got somebody from their side, they call Baldwin, who is this female assassin who has got a list of people that she's supposed to take out. And Howard's wife, this world's Howard, is one of her targets. And that's pretty much how things get really, like the catalyst to how this show keeps operating, because we start to find out little by little that there's a group on the other side that blames our side for infecting their world with a virus that killed like hundreds of millions of people. So far in the show, there is no proof of our involvement in this. They just blame us. They feel like and the thing is that they don't know about us. But the people that do know about us feel, or at least are told, that it's us that did it. And they create a school for children to train in the ways of our world and the people that they're others from our world. They try to be exactly like them because they are eventually going to send these kids over as adults or whenever they need them to take the place of our version of ourselves. And not in a nice way. They plan to kill us. They see us as we all deserve to die. And and there's a mole on our side that is giving them all this information. And so there's a big mole hunt on this show. One of the interesting things about this show is the cast, and it took me forever. But there's a guy called Quayle. He is one of the higher ups in our side's business of this, other alternate world government. I kept looking at him going, I know this guy from somewhere. And it took for him to have a certain look on his face where his eyes kind of get all bulgy and they're like, and he's really excitable. I don't know why I just did that. And I realized that Harry Lloyd is the guy who played Viserys on Game of Thrones Season 1, Daenerys' brother. And so it made sense after that, like why they cast him as this guy and everything else. There's also a whole bunch of other really good actors and actresses on this show. But if you like a show that kind of deals with things like Fringe, with alternate worlds, really great character stuff, I highly, highly recommend watching this show. I realize I'm not giving you episode to episode. I've just kind of given you a basic synopsis of what's going on. But from here on out, we will be talking spoilers for season 1. So if you aren't interested in hearing spoilers, I would definitely stop watching now and go check out Counterpart. If you don't know how to watch Counterpart, all you need is, like, if you have cable, you can get Stars, right? But if you don't, either on your Amazon Prime, you can order Stars for $8.99 a month or get a free trial for 7 days. And in 7 days, you can knock this show out pretty quick. And you can do the same thing on Hulu. You can get a 7-day free trial if you don't want to pay the $8.99 and you want to just crank out this show. That's how I intended to do it. But right now, Stars has a deal going on for it's like $5 a month for like 3 months. And you get like a $20 gift card to Target or something. And so that's how I'm going to end up watching season 2 of this show. Just in case you're wondering, if you're wanting to watch this show and you don't have a way to do it or you don't know how to do it, that's how you can do it. So anyway, spoilers here. Okay, and the reason I'm talking spoilers is because I want to talk about some things that I like and what I don't like. And I'm going to talk about something I don't like right away. See, I really love the show Fringe. And in that show, eventually they get around to this storyline, again, spoilers for Fringe, where there's another world almost exactly like ours, except something happened And now their world is suffering for something that we did on our side. I say we because I don't want to like spoil anything that much. And so they are actively, and what is happening is if both worlds can't exist at the same time. And so one of them has to go, and basically nobody's been able to figure out how to like let both worlds survive. So in that show, one of the worlds has to go, and their world has decided they're going to just actively try to destroy us. On Counterpart, you have a similar, slightly similar storyline where they blame us for something that happened to them. But the thing is, it's not like a global thing. Like I said, only a few people know about that there are two worlds. It is a very well-kept secret. The majority of the governments don't know, because who could keep a secret like this? And so that's why there's this very specific group of people that know, and that's it. And it's very, very, very secretive. And they don't take chances with people knowing this information. And so it's not a whole group of, like the whole world blaming us. It's a very small sect of people that have decided that we all deserve to die because they, without proof so far on the show, okay? I don't know if there's proof out there, but right now it's all just basically hearsay, or, you know, the information that they've given us on the show is they just think we did. And so they're willing to just say, we all fucking deserve to die. And so their whole thing is to get people over to our side to destroy our world. And that's one of my only problems with this show, is that premise, that reason for revenge. Because because they want to kill all of us. And it's like, well, if you really think we're all responsible for trying to destroy your world, that's really naive. Because everything that happens, it's not like we all had a vote on our side and they were like, hey, there's a, you know, there's another world. Should we just kill them and poison them all? And we all went, yeah. No, that's decisions made by higher ups that just feel a threat and don't want to do it. So then they decide, well, if that's those few people's decision, they feel like it should punish all of us. And I feel like that's really stupid writing. I think that's small-minded writing, and I think that we may have small-minded people, but like I don't know. I just disagree with the whole wipe everybody out, because on our side, we're not interested in wiping them out. We aren't. We're actually trying to learn from them. And the only shady thing about what we do about it is sometimes we'll be in a position to help, but we'll use that as like blackmail to get secrets from them. If we have something they want, we trade that for secrets to help our world out. And it happens vice versa as well, that they'll do the same thing. And they'll ask us for certain things that only we know that for some reason will help them. It's also interesting that on their side of the world, like they've been working on fixing the planet, cleaning up the oceans, cleaning up the earth. While on our side, we're still just killing ourselves. And that is a major distinction. They don't have like smartphones. They haven't been able to figure that out, which is a little silly because the worlds are kind of different. But it's basically saying like they've decided to work towards helping the entire world while we're still just going about like maintaining whatever little, you know, I don't know. You know what I'm saying, I think. There's a couple of other little details in here that I don't like. And again, like I said, spoilers. You find out who this mole is, and it turns out to be Game of Thrones guy, Quayle, his wife. And he should want her dead because of what she's been doing. She's been actively killing people on our side. But then, okay, he has a kid with her, but it's a total con job. She's been conning him and everybody. And instead of turning her in and getting rid of this and helping out the entire world, he decides to just, because they have a kid together, a baby, that he decides to not turn her in, and he starts covering for her. Even though this is not a sustainable thing in this like plot. This can't last forever, and he should know that. The character should know that, is what I'm saying. But the writers won't let that be. And that just kind of bugged me. That when the characters aren't acting in the way that they would, because this is a very selfish guy. He has not shown any real interest in his family until the writers decided that it was important for him to care. And when he's faced with this brutal betrayal, instead of going to doing what his character would do, he does something completely out of character and keeps her secret for his own gain, even though he sees prostitutes and hookers and like there's a difference. He's been stepping out on his wife. He does not seem to really care about, he's just about keeping face because her father is his boss. And that's all it really is keeping face. And it's not like he's going to lose his job if he tells on her. It's, you know what I mean? Like whatever. It just kind of doesn't make sense. But other than that, this show has some of the most solid ins and outs. There's a couple of moments where I'm like, why would that, like they make, when somebody doesn't stay, like when they say, don't do this, wait, and then we'll do it later. Like somebody does something rash and you go, that person's going to die. They make cliche moves like that occasionally. There's also a thing that happens in this. It just made me think of this cliche that needs to stop. And not just for this show, but for every show. And that's when somebody gives somebody a ultimatum at gunpoint saying, I'm going to kill you. This is it. It is absolutely it. You're going to die. I'm going to kill you. There is nothing you can say or do to keep me from blowing your head off. And then, of course, something happens where that person absolutely does not kill them. And I'm getting real tired of that cliche. I want to see somebody who actually writes down in the script where they blow that person away. They almost never do it. It's such an empty gesture. I mean, they always say, like, don't point that gun at me unless you're prepared to use it, right? Well, they always have people that point the gun and act like they're prepared to use it. But of course they never do. And I'm just sick of that thing. Like you get your hopes up, like, yeah, we're finally getting, no, it never happens. So now when it does happen, I just go, he's fine. He can pull 2 guns on him. He can have 6 guys and have 12 guns, and that person will still walk out of there unscathed because for some reason somebody thinks it's more clever to have the other person go, well, let me tell you why you can't shoot me. Sometimes it works, but they do this so much that it just bums me the fuck out. So that's pretty much it for spoilers. This show does have a great cliffhanger ending, but also very sweet because so much of this show is about choices that we make. Are we just the sum of our choices? Are we fated to be something that we don't want to be? Kind of like how I felt in my life. Like, I don't want to end up like my parents, things like that. But like, if you knew that there was another you out there and you see how they are, and they've made different choices and you think, well, am I like this just because I didn't choose to be like this? Or am I fated to someday end up like that person? So it's got a very interesting, and it's everybody throughout, because a lot of people start to meet their others. And what do you do when you see that person's life and you start to factor in, like, could I have had a different life? Could I have had this life? Or maybe, you see how bad your life is and go, well, maybe if I make these changes, maybe I can do that too. It's also the relationship between the Howards and his wives. Each side has an Emily that Howard was married to or is married to. And it's interesting that how the mild-mannered Howard gets along with other side's Emily, and you find out that the other side's Howard has been working with our side's Emily. It's interesting how the different personalities of each guy has like kind of an attraction to the other person's wife. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say about this. I have talked for almost 20 minutes. Holy shit. So if you are interested in Counterpart, I highly recommend it. It is a very cool spy show. It's about I like this a lot. I love J.K. Simmons. Again, he knocks it out of the park in every episode. He doesn't have too many with himself, but when they do, they are always really stand out. And like I said, not a lot of shows give, like spy shows, give their characters this much development. And if you like lots of twists and turns and ins and outs and double crosses and triple crosses and never knowing who anybody says they are, this is definitely a show that you would want to check out. So anyway, that's it for this. If you like this review, please hit the comment. Wow. New year, new mistakes. All right, so if you like this video, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, all of that jazz. Otherwise, this is Rob at Smirking Gun Reviews saying we will see you on the next video. Bye.